Rain fell in soft sheets outside the grand glass walls of the Elmont estate, where chandeliers glittered and violins sang the prelude to what was promised to be the wedding of the year. The scent of roses and money lingered in the air, and guests moved like royalty across the marble floors, each designer heel clicking like applause. But not all eyes sparkled with joy. Near the farthest corner of the ballroom, beside a grand column draped with silk and orchids, sat a boy in a wheelchair. No more than 10 years old, dressed in a crisp white tuxedo with gold trim and polished shoes, his pale hands rested quietly in his lap. His deep hazel eyes scanned the crowd, not with expectation, but with quiet endurance. His legs didn't move. His mouth didn't smile. He was still, like a painting hung too far back on the wall to notice. Nobody came to him. Not a glance. Not a whisper of acknowledgement. His name was Liam. He was the only son of Marcus Delaney, the billionaire CEO hosting the wedding for his niece. The same Marcus who commanded rooms and companies, who was known for ruthlessness in the boardroom, but who sat at the head table tonight, laughing with guests, as if the son he once cradled with trembling joy had turned invisible. Because since the accident 2 years ago, the skiing trip gone wrong, Liam had become a symbol of something Marcus didn't know how to fix. So, he did what he always did with what he couldn't control, he ignored it. And so, Liam sat alone. Until a man in a grey suit with a threadbare tie and calloused hands paused mid-step, holding the hand of a small boy. The man was not on the guest list. He had been invited last minute by a distant cousin of the bride who worked with him at the auto shop. His name was Eric Foster. A single dad. Widowed. Mechanic. Honest to the core, with a son who didn't stop asking questions and a heart that hadn't hardened despite every reason it had to. Eric spotted the boy in the wheelchair and stopped. His son, Adam, tugged at his arm. "Daddy, why is he all alone?" Eric knelt beside him. "I don't know, bud. But maybe we can ask him." They walked over, past people in tuxedos who barely noticed the intrusion. As they reached Liam, Eric knelt to eye level and smiled. "Hey there. I'm Eric, and this is my son Adam. Is it okay if we join you?" Liam blinked, stunned. Then nodded faintly. And for the next 10 minutes, that lonely corner of the room turned into the most genuine place in the building. Adam showed Liam his toy car. Eric made a joke about the tiny hors d'oeuvres being snacks for ants. And slowly, very slowly, a smile tugged at the corners of Liam's lips. It didn't go unnoticed. Across the room, Marcus Delaney's laughter faded as his eyes locked on the scene. Something stirred, a feeling he hadn't invited. Guilt? Regret? It twisted in his chest like an old, unopened letter. But he said nothing. As the night moved on, Adam insisted Liam come onto the dance floor with him. "But I can't," Liam hesitated. "You don't have to walk," Adam grinned. "You just gotta spin." And spin they did. Eric pushed Liam gently while Adam danced in circles beside him, clapping, laughing. Guests turned. Some whispered. Some smiled. But one woman, an elderly guest in pearls, leaned to Marcus and whispered, "That single father has more class than half this room." Marcus didn't respond. But something inside cracked. Later, while most guests were outside watching fireworks, Eric wheeled Liam toward the dessert table, letting the boy pick his favorite. Chocolate mousse. He hadn't eaten something so sweet in months. Liam took a bite and looked up. "Why did you talk to me?" he asked, softly. Eric knelt again. "Because you looked like you were worth knowing. And I've learned in life, people who are quiet usually have the most to say." Liam's eyes welled. He blinked it away. "My dad doesn't look at me that way anymore." Eric placed a hand gently on Liam's. "Then he's missing out." The night ended. Marcus stood in the dark near the exit as guests filed out. He expected praise, handshakes, maybe a few last deals whispered under the wine breath of old friends. Instead, a man in a wrinkled suit approached him. "Eric. Thanks for letting us be here," Eric said, not knowing Marcus hadn't even noticed he was invited. Marcus looked him up and down, hesitant. "You made my son smile," he finally said. "That hasn't happened in a while." Eric offered a warm but firm smile. "Kids don't stop needing love just because life changes, sir. They just start noticing when it's missing." Marcus swallowed hard. The next morning, Liam's nurse arrived at the estate to find the boy waiting in the hallway, dressed, smiling, ready. "What's gotten into you?" she asked. "I think today's gonna be different," he said. It was. At noon, a sleek black car rolled into a modest neighborhood near Queens. Eric had just finished helping a neighbor fix their muffler when Marcus Delaney stepped out, immaculate in a custom navy suit. Eric wiped his hands on a rag. "Mr. Delaney?" Marcus extended a hand. "I didn't thank you properly last night," he said. "Or for the last 2 years, really. No one's made my son feel seen like that since he got hurt." Eric raised an eyebrow. "Sometimes, we all need someone to just ask, why is he alone? That's how change starts." Marcus nodded. "I came to ask if you'd consider something." He handed Eric an envelope. Inside, a letter offering Eric a full-time position as the Director of Community Engagement at the Delaney Foundation, double his current pay, full benefits, and a relocation package. "But I fix cars," Eric stammered. "You fix hearts," Marcus said. "And I need more people like you around my son." Weeks passed. Then months. Eric and Adam moved into a quiet neighborhood just minutes from Liam's rehab center. Eric worked to build inclusion programs for disabled kids. And Adam and Liam became inseparable, racing custom wheelchairs, building Lego mansions, laughing until their stomachs hurt. And one day, in the middle of a quiet afternoon, Marcus walked into the park and saw Liam standing, just barely, holding onto a parallel bar, with Eric encouraging him from behind and Adam cheering. Tears streamed down Marcus's face. Not because his son could walk again, but because his son could live again. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, a question, a smile, a moment of noticing, can change not just a person's day, but their entire world. In a society that often celebrates loud success, it's the quiet compassion of ordinary hearts that brings extraordinary transformation. So, ask the question. Why is he alone? You might just become the answer.